Hey Virgos, welcome and welcome back to the Uneasy Star Tarot and happy Earth Day. I wanted to do a reading, see what we can gain from Gaia as guidance along this beautiful day to honor her. Before we get started though, I just also wanted to say thank you for all the ways that you lift this channel up. I feel so blessed to have each one of you here and I love you back. So with Earth Day, to get us started, actually, let's do some place oracles first. Spirit, what message? Thank you. That was fast. Okay. So as messages to open this reading here from the oracles, what we've got really is that Spirit is reminding us to see the nature, the abundance, the practical groundedness, the treasures, the bounty that Gaia gives us at this time. Look through that portal, look through that window, and see with a fresh pair of eyes all that surrounds you, because truly it is luxury, it is bounty that Gaia provides for us here on this earth. And particularly for Virgos, as a sign of service, the gifts that Gaia gives us during Earth Day, the energy from Earth Day in general, helps us with channeling that successional energy to develop sustainability in our lives. And so what really comes to mind is reduce, reuse, and recycle. But when it comes to personal life, personal aspects of reform, enlightenment, what comes to mind really is the interpretations and how we can apply that. And so resilience comes to mind, reflection, resourcefulness, reliance, but most importantly, especially on Earth Day, when we're talking and reflecting on Gaia, it's responsibility. And so during this day, the moon is also going to be trine with Jupiter. And so the moon is currently in Aquarius, Jupiter is in Gemini. And it's a period of time that enhances our communication, but also optimism and expanded circles, particularly when it comes to how we can come together. It opens us to new ideas, new experiences, but good fortune that really looks at what Gaia provides to us and looks at how we truly cherish it as well as value it, and then most importantly, our responsibility to protect it for generations to come, so that we create successional abundance that strengthens rather than weakens Gaia as well. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because this is a trine that really helps us on this day, opens us up to not only enhancing and embracing our intellectual curiosity, new ways that we can set ourselves up with renewable energy resources, new ways that we can utilize our resources or reduce, recycle even as well. But it also really speaks to what we can do to free ourselves from basically the constraints that have led us towards a place that really takes away our reliance, underhands in a lot of ways the resources that are given to us, instead of looking at what we can learn from the past, what we can do to seek balance and harmony in those energies, in that reciprocity, and so that we can essentially give as much as we take from the Earth's atmosphere, from the Earth's resources that are given. And with the Six of Cups, this really takes a moment to let us, this is beautiful too, we've got back-to-back sixes here, and so it so much speaks to that harmony, finding that reciprocity and how we too can contribute to that successional plan that not only helps us with valuing, cherishing, reusing, and holding responsibility to the resources that are at hand, that are provided for us here on this earth, but more importantly, look at the past to really learn from things, learn from the ways that have worked and that haven't worked, and how we can apply new technologies to refine what we have, to not necessarily take more, but instead to look at infinite aspects, renewable aspects, and most importantly, successional aspects. This is about looking at the wisdom and applying the wisdom, cherishing the value of the wisdom that leads us and sets us up for successional planning, not only for us, not only in ourselves, but also in our communities, in our generations to come. And if we get it right, the goal has always been, from Native American cultures that I truly appreciate and value, 7 generations of planning. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because it is such a good practice that we don't necessarily look towards in some cultures as much as we could or as much as we possibly should, right? And so with Earth Day here as well, it really speaks to, especially for 2025, it really speaks to the angel number 422. And so with 422, it really symbolizes positive change, personal growth. But most of all, our guardians are basically reassuring us that we indeed are on the right path, especially when it looks at successional abundance, when we're focusing on not what's right in front of us in the material possessions, but instead looking at that throat chakra that allows abundance and scales of balance to really set us up with successional, generational abundance. This is also the master number of 11. This speaks to basically, the spiritual insights from mistakes that we can learn along the way, the polarities of situations where we give and take in a reciprocity that's balanced with Mother Nature. But also, too, you could be dealing with a Libra. You could be looking at the shadows as well with that scorpionic energy. Or, two, looking at the idea of how you can apply that wisdom. This is standing up in leadership as well as enlightenment against conflict and holding your grounds, but it's through that temperance. And so with the King of Wands in particular, it really looks at communication, looks at honesty, and this is where really Gaia is giving us an opportunity to really look at how we deal with world problems as a whole, cooperatively. And this is also taking inspiration from nature. Because, especially even in agriculture, coming from an agricultural background like myself, it's about opportunity. I swear the biggest gamblers that you tend to overlook are farmers. They put their whole investment in for the season, right? They do all of their planning for what they're going to be buying before everything started. They look at their return on investment before they even do that, so that they can really decide and plan and make a plan of action during the winter for when the spring comes. At that time, once everything's in the ground, once everything's bought, once everything's invested, they put all their faith and hands, their work, their guidance to Gaia. Gaia really has the say in how that season grows, in how that season performs, and how the return on investment actually comes through. This is basically looking at that passion, embracing that leadership from Gaia, but also, too, that enlightenment of faith. It also puts our trust in a place that can be tested, where there's no promise that no suffering will occur, but instead it looks at the new perspective of what it takes to really stand our ground against unfair advantages, against loss, and helps us build that resilience, that adaptability when things come up. And that really comes, again, through the temperance. It looks at the 14, which reduces to a 5. It's about beginnings, foundations, structures, but also the adaptability and resilience towards unexpected or unforeseen events, right? And so when you're looking at Earth Day this year, particularly when you're looking at 422, Spirit is responding to you. Gaia is responding to you, guiding you and reassuring you that when it comes to successional abundance, taking on the enlightened perspective of many generations, planning ahead not for your children, but not for their children's children, but 7 generations ahead, that can balance us and reciprocate so that we only take as much as we receive, and even better of a goal, we give Gaia more than we actually take as well. And it leads us to the place where we're on the right path. This is the time really to reflect on our strengths as well as our weaknesses, but also to make the changes that are needed most by seizing opportunities and focusing on our purpose, what we can do to reach that star, and not only become the best versions of ourselves, but to also trust ourselves and seek that balance. Hold what makes us feel more fulfilled. Cherish what makes us feel more fulfilled. And remember that the universe is on our side. Gaia is on our side. And so this is the time out of all days where with 422 as the angel number, it's all about releasing negativity and maintaining balance. But it also, too, involves limiting your interactions, your energy, with things and people and places that drain your energy. This is also a day to stand up and make sure that be re-instilled in the faith that there is no reason to be afraid of saying no. Saying no to theft, saying no to manipulation, deceit, sneakiness, underhandedness, deception, lies, but instead focusing your energy on invoking change that brings through successional abundance. And so when you break down 422, the 4 is all about practicality, right? Patience, grounding, but it's all about the foundation. And with 2s, and there's 2 of them, right? It's all about that balance, that harmony, that reciprocity, but also too the adaptability and utilizing your intuition that sets us up for successional joy, successional reunions, successional celebrations, but also to coming together in a way that we can work together to provide win-win solutions that develop friendships and success for everybody. And this is where really it speaks towards new ventures, adventure as well, but also more importantly, taking action. This is about gaining new skills and knowledge, education, dedication, and mastery, but it's about, more importantly, finding that balance, that prioritization. And it all, of course, breaks down to the number 8. And so when 422 breaks down to the number 8, the number of infinity, it speaks to abundance, prosperity, wisdom, and knowledge. And so it's quite a gift that Earth Day this year is on April 22nd, because it speaks to that idea of applying the wisdoms and the knowledge from generations, even 7 generations past us, or previously, I should say, our ancestors, and looking at new opportunities and how we can refine. Look at how we can reflect on what's been going well, what needs to be refined or what needs to be changed, what was abundant, what we've taken and instead not replenished in a time that allows 7 generations to come to really seek that balance or reap those rewards, and instead find ways to really look at that full 14 generations with us right in the middle, and more importantly, how we can maintain that fertility for years and generations to come. And this is really about new ideas. This is about new plans, but it also speaks to new ventures and staying focused on those material things, that reciprocity. And so with 22 also in there, it's all about the master builder. And so this Earth Day is really all about mastering. The master builder reminds us, that we are in the driver's seat. We have the ability to control our lives through our choices, through our actions, as well as through our emotions. We alone, through this control, have the power to manifest our desires. And this is really where change occurs. This is where opportunity becomes grounded within us, but also too, it's through that creative energy working together collaboratively, where we can produce, we can birth the start of something new. And so it's all about the time of focusing on our purpose and our calling and reaching for that star, that 14 generational cycle that allows us to put an end towards painful endings, things that aren't working, things that aren't reciprocal, but instead looking towards the future rather than towards the past, looking towards the opportunity rather than towards the things that only create loss, that are not sustainable. And this is really about being guided not only by our ancestors, but having the foresight to be guided by our intuition as well. And so it's really a time where we're abandoning things that no longer serve us. We're looking at how the battle is only half over, right? Because we're in the middle between those 14 generations. But this is about making the conscious choice to move towards calm, towards a new environment, and overcoming hardships that really come from creating stability from that foundation. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because this Earth Day is not only about how we can develop sustainability in our lives through channeling that successional energy, but it's about building prosperity, gaining freedom with our resources and how we use them with respect, but also to reaching goals that lead our generations to come, the 7 generational successional planning, reaching that goal where we can find balance once again, where the world works in our favor, but also too, we work for Gaia as well. This is, again, it's about new ideas, and it's about standing as that nurturer, but also standing in our practicality when it comes to building securities. And so really it's about trusting yourself and seeking that balance, holding what makes you feel most fulfilled, and remembering that the universe works with us. The universe is on our side. And so particularly when it comes to Earth Day this year, when we reflect on how we invest in the treasures and the bounty that Gaia gives us, this is all about channeling for the sustainability, not only in our lives, looking back at 7 generations behind us, but also planning for the 7 generations to come. And it symbolizes and invokes that good fortune. It opens that new idea, those new experiences that come from proactive and positive energy. Now, Spirit, what additional messages do you have for us here? What can our ancestors guide us with, the lessons that they've learned along the way? Thank you. And so at the top of the deck, oh my goodness, this is about stepping into a place as a community, as a whole, into a place of mastery. This is about knowing that we need to let go of the past and soar higher. Be guided with Gaia by the winds of spirit, by the winds of change, and more importantly, share our collective wisdom to not only inspire the world, but to heal the world, to create sustainable abundance. And at the bottom of the deck, it's all about miracles. This is about also blessing the world with positivity and with love. Like I say, it's about that, really looking at that reciprocity. And so even on the small factors when it comes to reduce, reuse, recycle, resilience, reflection, resourcefulness, reliance, and responsibility, each one of us plays a part, and each one of us has a voice and has a role to play. And so even in the idea of when you're looking at what to reform, remember that as the consumer, as even one voice, we have the power to change through the conscious choices of our actions, our choices, and our emotions. And focusing on your calling, reaching for that star, becoming the best versions of ourselves, and sharing the wisdom that we've gained along the way is really what's going to lead us towards that abundance, that successional abundance for 7 generations. But it allows us to basically use our mind and our heart, to marry our minds and our hearts, come together to reach for the stars, but also help keep each other with our feet grounded on the earth, to listen to the ancient wisdom that comes from our soul and that comes from our ancestors, because our ancestors speak through us. This is the time to tap in. I'm just saying, I love it. So I also wanted to look at, for those that meditate, the color and the music therapy aspects, because today, out of all days, it is so important to guide and to ground in that intuition and into that energy, that grounded, practical energy that Gaia gives us. And so what we pulled here is 2 G sharps, an F sharp, and a D. And then I'm not really surprised by this. I just think it's absolutely wonderful. But we have got blues, purples, greens, and oranges. And so it's so earthy to really look at, but it also speaks to really tapping into that crown, utilizing and guiding ourselves through our intuition, letting the divine guide us through our intuition, our ancestors guide us, but also to speak clearly at this time, to speak those into manifestation, into reality, to be guided by that knowledge and to speak it, to share it, so that we can really build that foundation that leads to mastery. I'm just saying, I absolutely love it. And so I truly hope that this reading helps. If this resonated, by all means, please like, share, subscribe. You guys truly make the difference with this channel and in the world. Each and every one of your voices count. And I am sending you all of my light and love. Happy Earth Day. Take care.